Yes, and we are kind of looking toward the heavy rain potential, possibly a bit of severe weather if we do see those rain bands coming on shore eventually. And we may see some effects of coastal flooding and also a sharp rise on the Mississippi River. I'll talk all about this coming up in just a minute. But first, this is the latest on what is still Invest 92. So let's jump just right into the model so you can get a look at what might happen. I showed you the computer models with the plots earlier. Now we're looking at the GFS. By Thursday, it has some low pressure just south of our coastline, and then taking it toward Friday, notice that that's when it gets to the southwest. Now, once it passes our southern part of our coastline and gets off to the west, that's when our heavy rain potential may be increasing. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because we will be on the typically wetter side of a tropical system where it's able to bring in all of this moisture and heavy rain. So that would be Saturday that it might make landfall. Perhaps this is what this model is saying over in western Louisiana, and then weakens by Sunday and Monday, although we will probably still have rain all the way through Monday. Getting into the Euro model, now this latest run has taken it a lot closer to us. This would be Thursday morning, fast forward to Friday, and notice it is a little closer to our coastline, and this very latest run coming in just very recently brings some really heavy bands right over our area, with possibly the center of the system just removed to our west. This would be a bad scenario. This could easily change. This is just one model run from the Euro, but this one would bring some really heavy totals. In fact, the Euro going with over 10 inches. Again, just one model run, but I did want to update you on that. We're really saying more like 3 to 8 at this point because this model run may not be exactly what we see. Of course, we need it to really kind of stay a little bit away from us as far as the really heavy rain goes, but probably someone somewhere will be getting some very heavy rain amounts. For us right now, what we're saying is possible 3 to 8 inches, could be higher from Thursday through Monday. East winds sustained Thursday through Sunday could cause some coastal flooding, so pushing those tides higher along the shorelines. And also a quick rise on the Mississippi River is now expected Friday and Saturday, and you can see that on the hydrograph. It has been at the Carrollton gauge almost steady at 16 feet, and then look at the forecast to jump to 19 feet on Friday and then back down very quickly on Saturday. Remember, the city is protected by levees up to 20 feet, so it shouldn't threaten the city, but notice that there will be, possibly related to some storm surge, that quick rise. That's the latest from the National Weather Service and their forecast. Also, we could see a flash flood watch, which might be for late this week and weekend, and there could be more impacts, as I said, but it's a little bit early to say. We will know more once the system begins to develop, which would be late tomorrow or Thursday. As we look at our severe risk Thursday, notice that the Storm Prediction Center has already given us a marginal risk for maybe a couple of severe storms or a few areas of rotation. So please have your plan and supplies ready to go just in case. We will know a lot more in the next couple of days. Stay tuned with us and download our app and all of our social media because we'll be updating you a lot. A lot still needs to be determined because it's still early, with the center just barely over the Gulf at this point.